Right, here we go. We're going to start right back up where we left off yesterday in the next or last video. We're going to pick up where we were right before the end of the day. I think what we did was we had began plotting our, well, not plotting, we drew in our plan view. We had some work to come back to. We were going to draw in a little more detail to it in a second here. And then we started working on our elevation view. We threw in all the base cabinets, set up the grid that we're aligning all those cabinets to, and we started working on the upper cabinets a little bit, but we didn't actually finish those yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set back up here, just pulling up the drawing that we left off with yesterday, and then pulling up the architecturals that go alongside that. One quick sec here. I can get these adjusted. Okay, and then I got to go into my file explorer and find our architecturals once more here. So, let's see, legislative office building. No, oh yeah, that's right. That's the project we're on. Drawings, architectural. We were on level B1. Okay, and we also need I08-01. That is our elevation view for this work. Okay, so I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to bring this over here. Come on. Still loading. Here we go. Bring this over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to split screen this a little bit. I'll share a little more of the AutoCAD screen than I will of the Bluebeam screen, so that way we have a decent amount to be able to see here. Okay, so yeah, so just like I was explaining there, we have covered all the base cabinets there. Those are all set to go. We started with the upper cabinets yesterday, or left off with the upper cabinets yesterday, and we will continue to fill out the rest of these from left to right. Okay. Also, just recapping at the top of these cabinets, because there is a drywall ceiling, every one of these cabinets is going to need a 3/4 inch reveal. That is required for liftoff space to be able to install these cabinets in the field, because we use what are called those cabinet cleats that go behind the cabinet, and that does require a little bit of liftoff space to place the cabinet over top of the cleat. On the left-hand side of this upper cabinet, there is a filler. This one here, they did call for it to be 1 inch, so I did match that, just because I didn't want to mess with these cabinet dimensions because they have them all nice and even right now. So I left that alone at 1 inch, but there will be a filler here, reveal at the top. And since we've got that, we can go ahead and start working our way through these cabinets. Oh, I guess one more thing too, before we get too far in, let's go ahead and do some checking to see how many shelves we need in this cabinet. If we could locate that information and then see how tall this valance is below the cabinet. Now, to do that, we're going to kind of take a look at the section view here. This is a section view for a cabinet similar. It's not exact because they don't actually have one called out for the cabinets above the refrigerator. So I'm going to kind of make an inference based on what we're seeing in this section view to know how to draw this one here. So I'm looking for view 6, which is this upper cabinet. This one does show 2 shelves, but I actually noticed over here they actually have a typical detail for an upper cabinet above a refrigerator. And if that is truly a typical detail that is being used throughout the project, and that we can probably make the assumption here that because this is above a refrigerator in our drawing here, that this cabinet is probably going to be this section view, even though it's not called out. I'm going to say that that's probably the case. So for this one, it does not look like it has any shelves in it. So we're going to turn off the shelf selector there. So 0 shelves. And then we need to also show the valence. So valence isn't called out height-wise here. Like they're only showing that on this view over here, and that's okay. But it does look like that needs to be 1.5 inches plus the thickness of the bottom of the cabinet. So it's actually going to be 1.5 inches plus 3/4. So that would actually make it 2 1/4 here. So we're going to drop this down to 2 1/4. Okay. And so this cabinet should be covered for right now. All right, let's move on to the next one. Next one, again, we did just have that section view pulled up, although it's not noted here. If you go to the section view, you can see that they're intending to have 2 adjustable shelves within that cabinet. So we need to go back here to our elevation view. We're going to use the copy command, hit enter, select this cabinet, hit enter, and then we're going to use the base point of the top left corner of this cabinet, and we're going to paste it right here to the top left or top right corner of the cabinet, so that way we can just slide it on over to the next area. I guess the other thing you could say is you're snapping it to this grid that we have preset up from our last video. So this upper cabinet will need to go over to here, which makes it 36 inches wide according to their drawing, as well as the dimension in blue up above. So that's great. We also need to increase the height so that it equals out to be, it's going to be 36 inches, subtract out 3/4. So it's actually going to be 35 1/4 inches tall. Yeah, there we go, 35.25. Now I'm going to add in those shelves because based on that section view, there was 2 shelves in there too. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. We're going to say 2 shelves. The valence should stay the same. We're still at 2 1/4, and we got that based on the information we saw here. So the valence at the bottom is 1.5 inches plus the 3/4 thickness of the bottom of the cabinet. So that was 2 1/4 tall right there. We still have that 3/4 inch reveal at the top. That stays the same all the way throughout. And then we're going to go back to our elevation view here. The next cabinet that we need is a 1-door upper cabinet. So we're going to find one of those in our tool palette. So we need to go back to our tool palettes over here. We're going to right click on the sidebar and we're going to go over to on-site casework. Still remaining in the elevation view tab. Again, it's kind of hard to see. It's behind the video up there, but on the elevations tab, and then we're going to go to a 1-door upper cabinet right here. All right. Again, this is my first time pulling a block in this morning, so it's going to take it a second to load. There it goes. All right. So I have this upper cabinet. Now I'm going to mess with some of the settings here. We do not have a top valence, so we're going to turn that off and just say that we only want a bottom valence on this cabinet. All right. Go ahead and use either the grip point or you could use the move command and move this cabinet here to where it needs to sit. I'm placing it right there to line up with the height of the cabinet to the left and line up with our grid that we have set up here. And then I'm going to adjust the width of that cabinet. Looks like we're at 18 inches. Just double checking here, 1'6", that is correct. And then we're going to go and use the height adjustment to make sure that we are snapping to that grid. You can see the valence is a little different too. We do need to make that adjustment to make sure that these are all lined up from left to right. So that's 2 1/4 again, just like we talked about earlier. And then we have, looks like 3 2-door upper cabinets next. Those are all EQ. In the last video, we did cover all of those, making sure that we use the array command to get all of those cabinets equal. So because we've already done that, that sets us up to do this a little bit quicker. We've already got the grid set up. So kind of what I'm doing is taking that cabinet and just following that same process throughout. And I'm just copying these along. Once I've got this one resized and make sure the valence is the same height, I got the correct number of adjustable shelves in that cabinet, I can then copy this cabinet over one at a time. So we're going to go bloop, bloop, and bloop. Just using the copy command to do that. And then we need another one-door cabinet over to the right-hand side. This one's actually flipped. Can't remember if this block has a flip or not. It does not, but that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to use the copy command one more time. We're going to take this cabinet. We're going to make a copy of it. So once the cabinet's selected, we're going to hit enter, select this base point at the top corner, and we're going to paste it right here. We're probably going to have to make some adjustments. Actually, no, it's actually the same width. That's perfect. So we won't have to adjust the width of the cabinet at all. But as you can see, these lines here, these are what's called a door swing. It indicates which way the door opens. So when you think about a cabinet door, the side with the point, like where the arrow is kind of going, this side with the point here is the side where the hinges are going to be. So the hinges are placed behind this side of the cabinet door. The side with the two lines extending out to it, that is the side of the door that swings open. So you can see that in these cabinets with these two doors, that each of these cabinet doors would swing outward, kind of like this. And this side and this side here are going to be the side with the hinges. So where I'm going with that is we know this cabinet has a different door swing here based on this drawing than what we are showing here. So we need to be careful about making sure that we're showing the correct thing here. What I'm going to do is use the mirror command, M-I-R-R-O-R, and we're going to use that to select our cabinet block, hit enter, and then use the midpoint of this cabinet, and we're going to simply just mirror it like this. Now, how that mirror, oh shoot, let me go back a step here. How that mirror command works is it's asking you for the first point of the mirror line, and it's going to ask you for the second point of the mirror line. So what I usually do is I'll just use the ortho snap or the FA key. I'll turn that on, making sure that I'm locked to 90-degree rotations, and I'm going to go straight down from the midpoint of that cabinet. All right, once you've clicked there, you selected your 2 points of your mirror line. It's going to ask you, do you want to erase your source object? In this case, I'm going to say yes, because I only want one cabinet door swing. I don't want two. So we're going to go right there. Wait, what now? Oh, yeah, sure. It just came through. So I might have to ask Josh about this for you. Yeah, I might have to ask Josh about this one. I'll ask him about it real quick for you. All right, I'll send it over to him real quick. You got it. Sorry, I've got 1 sec here. I gotta take care of something here. All right, sorry about that. We are good there. I'm sending that now. All right. So, where were we? Oh, yes, we were mirroring the cabinet. It looks like something got a little bit off. I want to make sure that these cabinets are actually touching here at the middle. So now that we're here, looks like we've got all of our cabinets placed exactly where they need to go. And if that is the case, that also means that we can start to clean up some of these construction grid lines that we have set in place in AutoCAD. So we really don't need these anymore. We can delete those ones. They're kind of obsolete now at this point. This one's also kind of obsolete. We can delete that too. I would still recommend keeping this left and the right one here, at least for right now, because what we're going to do with those is they are going to eventually be your wall and floor hatch. Actually, we can just knock that out right here. So before I go ahead and finish this elevation view until we get to the detail work of it, what I'm going to do is go back into my tool palette here. And now that we're done with the cabinets, I'm going to go in, I'm going to right click on here again, and I'm going to go to on-site annotation. On-site annotation is where your hatches are and your plot tools. So I'm going to go to hatching here because what I'm looking for is the floor, wall, and ceiling hatch. And what I'm going to do is use that when it loads. I'm going to use that to actually kind of dictate where the floor and the walls are. So I'm going to use this hatch here. And what I'm going to do is use the rotate command. I'm going to rotate that using the midpoint of there. Not that it really matters. I just need to make sure that it's making this U shape. It's facing the right direction. So then what I'm going to do is use the endpoint right there to move this to where I want to put it. So I kind of want to line it up with this grid. And I'm also going to align the floor up to the far right-hand side. So then from there, what I'm going to do is take these grips and I'm going to adjust this hatching so that way it lines up with the actual ceiling line right there. Okay. So last thing I want to do here before I call this for right now is I'm going to go into the tool palettes once more, and I'm going to pull in what they call the floor hatch, which is really just the same thing as the floor, wall, and ceiling hatch. It's just one leg instead of three. If you did grab the wrong one by mistake, you have this little option that lets you toggle these different views anyway, but I'm just using the one side here because what I'm going to do is use the rotate command once more. I'm going to highlight that and then spin this around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this endpoint here to just snap that right to the corner and drag this all the way across to the right-hand side. Then from there, I'm free to remove the rest of my construction lines. Oh, yeah, I should go over that too. As you're in AutoCAD too, I know I have a construction line that's sitting right here. It's hard to get to. It's kind of buried behind a lot of things. So if I need to get to that, an easy way to do that is you can highlight that area. What I'm going to do is highlight it with my cursor. Just go and making that green box, selecting anything that's touching it right there. Once I hit my left mouse button, I'm going to hold down the shift key on my keyboard, which will activate deselect. And then I can deselect any items that I did not mean to select. So I'm getting rid of the grid that we have in our model space. And I'm also going to get rid of this floor hatch here, this wall hatch, so I don't accidentally delete that by mistake. Now I'm going to hit my delete key and just remove that extra construction line that's sitting in there. So I should be left with something like this, which isn't too far from what we need. We will have to come back to it and detail that a little bit more. And what I mean by that is I need to have to come back and add the cabinet poles and add the equipment that is going to go within this elevation here. So that would be like the refrigerator, the sink, the faucet, that sort of thing. We're going to add that in near the end of this video or maybe into the next video, depending on how it goes time frame wise. And then also just I will have to add a finished end call here. So hopefully I don't really forget about that, but we want to make sure that this is called out as a finished end because you will see the side of this cabinet here, at least until the upper cabinet butts into it. So anyways, so we're going to leave that alone for right now. And then what we need to do is, I guess I can get rid of that too. That's that extra plan view that we made. Heck with it. Why don't we just detail these out the rest of the way, and then we'll make the third part of this video series the section views, and we can get into drawing the section views from there. So let's go back to our plan view, and we're going to finish detailing this out. So there's not much more you have to do with a plan view really, but I do need to, I'm showing the countertop right now, which is great. I also need to make sure that I am also showing these upper cabinets, which when you're dealing with a plan view and you have upper cabinets on top of it, what we like to do is we like to show those with hidden lines. So you'll be using that geometry dash layer for that. But first, before we even get to that point, we kind of need to know what is the depth of these cabinets. And you can't really tell that based on an elevation view. So what you're going to do is go to your section view. That was view number 6, which is this guy right here. Now, yeah, this doesn't really help either. Looks like it says refer to reflected ceiling plan or RCP for the soffit, which doesn't really pertain to the cabinet specifically because the cabinet's not in line with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our floor plan and see if maybe there's a note or something here that we can use that might help us with seeing what the upper cabinet depth is supposed to be. And so far it looks like I'm kind of striking out there too. So this may be a time where it might be useful to actually use the, well, actually, no, we're good here. I was going to say we might have to use the scale tool in Bluebeam, but it does look like there are other upper cabinets here on this project, which are probably the same depth. They're calling these to be 1'3" and 1'3". So let's see, that'd be 12, 13, 14, 15 inches deep. I think what we'll do is we'll make these 15 inches deep as well, and we'll roll with that and just make sure that we draw that in that way. So on our plan view, to show that these cabinets are there and they're 15 inches deep, what we're going to do is we're going to drop in another rectangle. We're going to start by clicking either the bottom right-hand corner or the top right-hand corner here, and we're just going to draw a rectangle straight down. So I know that we're dealing with cabinets that are 15 inches deep, so that blue highlighted dimension that's down there, I'm going to type in 15. And I'm going to hit Tab on my keyboard, and I'm going to navigate over to the other dimension here. So that's 196. That's from wall to wall. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that I put this on the correct layer. So I need to move this over to Geometry Dash. And again, I guess I didn't really explain this before yet either, but if you are working on moving something to another layer, it's really easy. All you want to do is highlight the object you're trying to move to a different layer, and then you go up to your drop down and in the layer properties, and you can actually select a different layer and it will move whatever is selected to that layer. So nice little side tip there for you. I'm going to use the move command real quick, and I'm going to move these cabinets so that they are actually right here aligned with the wall, just like that. Okay. Last thing we're going to want to do, plan view wise, is we need to drop in this refrigerator, and we want to drop in the sink here because those both will slightly interact with the millwork. So we need to find out what those are. You might be able to find that on the elevation view. It doesn't look like they have anything called out here in the plan view. So we're going to go back here, and it looks like the refrigerator is called out as AP-2. So AP-2, if I go to that little schedule that's on this page, I can look up what AP-2 is. This is where we're going to start getting into some Googling here, as long as I have a spec number for it. If I don't, then what I'm going to do is use the dimensions they have provided here. Looks like there is no spec number. Sorry, I was trying to see if we had one. Sometimes they have a product name here, which is great, but sometimes they'll actually put like a model number next to it to let you know what exact refrigerator they're using. Anyways, since they don't have that, what we need to do is we need to draw in a generic rectangle to represent that refrigerator. So we have the dimensions of that refrigerator here according to their schedule. So we're going to use that to roll with putting it into our print. Looks like the width is 32 3/4 and the depth is 31 inches. So we're going to use a rectangle to draw this in. Oops, there we go. 31 inches deep. Hit tab, and this is going to be 32.75, just like that. So now that we have this box in here, this is a pretty good representation of the refrigerator. What we're going to do is we're going to move that to the existing layer because that is a product that is going to be provided by somebody else other than on-site. And then what I want to do with it is I'm going to use the move command, and I'm going to place it to be in line with the back wall, but dead center between the counter and the wall here. So let's go here. We'll use the move command. I'm going to start by selecting the midpoint of the back of the refrigerator, and then turn my F8 key off so I can move it. And in any of these commands within AutoCAD, if you hold down your Shift key and you right-click on your mouse, you're going to see that you have this little option sort of selector menu that lets you select different snaps that aren't readily available to you in AutoCAD currently. One of these snaps that I use pretty often, it is called mid between 2 points. That's this one here. Mid between 2 points kind of works like an alignment sort of deal. So right now, what we're doing is we're using the move command and we've selected the midpoint of the back of the refrigerator. So now if I activate mid between 2 points, what I'm going to be doing here is it's going to ask me for first point of mid and second point of mid. So how this works is if you select the top corner here and the bottom corner here is your second point, the refrigerator will sit dead center between those 2 points. So that is how to use mid between 2 points. And again, to get to that, all you do is you hold down the Shift key on your keyboard and you right-click your mouse, select mid between 2 points, and then that command will pop up. It's kind of like a subsidiary sort of command within another command because we're still in move, but we're using that to be able to locate this a little better. So I'm selecting those 2 points like we mentioned and placing that refrigerator dead center between the counter and the wall. All right, next we're going to see if we have the sink spec here. So it looks like PF13 is what they call the sink. So I don't think PF13 is a part of this schedule. Now, a lot of times an architect will break out an appliance schedule from a plumbing schedule. So what we need to do is we need to see first if there's one on this drawing, and the only other area here that has any side information is this. So what we're probably going to need to do is we'll probably need to go back to the architectural folder, and we're going to have to look for any sort of plumbing drawings in here. A lot of times they may not be readily available to us, so I'm hoping that we do have those for this project. I'll look in here first to see if there is anything that says anything about plumbing in here. If not, does not look like we have anything right away. That's the finish schedule, so that's about all the different finishes and materials on the job. Let's take a look at let's look at archive first and just see if there's anything in here. Possibly. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Well, hey, that's all right. So what I'm going to do from there, since I don't exactly have those plumbing specs readily available right here, is you can do a little bit of research on your time too if you need to. What I would like to do is I'm going to go into Bluebeam. And in Bluebeam, you actually have a really nifty tool in here, right where this magnifying glass is. If you click on that, you'll see the sidebar pop up. And if you notice, you can tell it to look for example PF13. So if I want to search for PF13, then I can tell it if you want to search in the document that you're looking at, which in this case it wouldn't really help us because it's really only going to say that PF13 is used here. But what you can do is you can actually have Bluebeam search an entire job folder for anything labeled PF13. So we're going to try that out and see if we can find anything. All I'm doing is clicking on this drop down, going down to folder, and then you have to select what folder it is that you want it to look in. So we're going to go to the project that we're on, Legislative Office Building, Drawings, and Architecturals. I'm going to have it check this folder here. So I'm going to hit select folder. And I'm also going to have it say include subfolders here, meaning that if there are any folders within that folder, I'm going to have it search those too. All right, so once I have my folder selected and told it that I want it to search in a folder and not this document, I can hit search on here and it's going to start scanning through every single drawing in that folder for anything that has PF13 labeled on it. So it's going to automatically come back with this drawing that we have up already, which isn't going to be super helpful for us. But the important thing is it's going to give us an entire list of drawings that have that label on them. So it might help us locate the plumbing schedule, pending that it is in the folder somewhere. If it's not in the folder somewhere, then I'm going to use a generic sink, and I'm going to label the sink and the faucet as GC or general contractor to provide plumbing fixture information or plumbing fixture specs. That way, by the time this countertop gets installed in the field, we should be able to cut the template for the sink so that way we can make a hole in the counter for the sink to fit in, as well as the faucet as well. But I'm just going to give this a second here. It's about halfway through currently. So while that's working away at that, let's come back to our drawing here and we'll work on adding the poles to the elevation view and the outlets to the elevation view while we're waiting. Whoops. Yeah, zip over here. We'll split screen this again. Sorry. We'll give Bluebeam a second to do its magic here. Okay. I don't know why that happened either. That's crazy. All right. Moving back down to our elevation view, let's get those poles added. So if I remember right, we kind of looked at this job in the material log base the other day. Let's see, I got to find what job number we're dealing with again. It's 6415. So 6415 is right there. And we are using hardware 53 on this project as the pole. That is a Doug Mockett DP128-4. With that information, what you can do is you can go back to your AutoCAD. And in your tool palettes, we do have all the Doug Mockett poles in the hardware, like on-site hardware area. You're going to go to that folder within your tool palette, and you're going to go down to poles right there. All right, so we need to find the DP128. Let's see, there it is right there, DP128. All right, so these poles, if they have multiple specs to them. They're going to also have multiple views. Like you can see, there are an elevation view, a section view, a plan view. What we really need here is the elevation view. We're going to take that pole and we're going to match the layout of what's happening over here. Man, that thing's still cooking. It's at 83% now. Anyways, so let's go start with our base cabinets here. So all door cabinets, cabinets with doors on them, they're going to have vertical poles. So right away I need to know, or I need to take the rotate command and I need to rotate this pole so it's standing up vertically. Then what I'm going to do is use the move command, and I'm going to take the pole, the corner of the pole, I'm going to place it right here at the corner of the door, and I'm going to move this 2 inches over, and then use the move command to move this 2 inches down. You can get really quick at using those commands. If you have used the move command and you need to use it again, I'm just going to copy this over so I can show you that. If you just use the move command and you need to use it one more time, what you can do is, I'm using it right now to move this 2 inches to the right. And then if you hit your enter key, it will start the last command that you've already had open previously. So you can use that to then move it again 2 inches down, just like that. All right, so we've got these two poles placed. We're going to use the copy command, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a base point that is common to all these cabinets at the base cabinet level. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the copy command, select our poles, hit enter, and then select this corner of the door right here. We have to remember that because what we're going to do is we're going to use that corner to paste it to the other cabinet doors down the row. So click there. What it's going to do is allow you to paste it right there, paste it right there, paste it right there. And that should make these poles all exactly 2 inches over and 2 inches down. The drawer cabinets have horizontal poles on them. So with that being said, we're going to copy one of these poles and we're going to rotate it so that way it's facing the correct way. Then I'm going to take the move command and I'm going to move that pole to be in line with the top of the drawer. And then I move it down 2 inches from there. Then I will use the copy command like we did previously. And I'm going to select the top midpoint of that drawer. And I'm just going to use that to paste it to all of the other drawers on this elevation here. Just like that. So our base cabinets are taken care of. We need to go back up to the upper cabinets and go ahead and get those fixed up now. So we'll use the copy command again. We're going to copy this pole. We're going to place it right here. And then what I'm going to use is the move command here. And I'm going to use the corner of that pole, just like we did on the base cabinets. I'm going to move this over 2 inches, and I'm going to move this up 2 inches, just like that. Then we're going to do the same thing on this other cabinet door over here. We're going to move this up 2 inches, and we're going to move it over 2 inches. And then just like before, we'll use the copy command one more time. Use the select the poles, and then use the base point of the bottom right corner of the door this time. And we'll use that to paste these into all of these two-door upper cabinets. Okay. Then I have two one-door cabinets that also need poles too. So we're going to use the copy command again, highlight that pole, use that corner point, and paste that individual pole right there. And then we'll do the exact same thing for this cabinet, but flip-flopped. So copy, use that corner there, and paste that right there. So we should have all of our poles in where they need to be. And we can also drop in the refrigerator in the elevation view while we're looking at it here. So refrigerator specs, again, one more time, they have that up here. This time what we're paying attention to is the height and the width. So 69 7/8 by 32 3/4. So 69, oh, sorry, this needs to be the width. So 32 3/4. And then 69 7/8. All right. Now, I just did that with the rectangle command, and I'm going to move this over to the existing layer. So highlight that rectangle, go up to your drop down for your layers, select existing. Then we're going to move this rectangle, just like we did in the top view or the plan view. We're going to use the move command, select the center point or the midpoint of the refrigerator. And then we're going to hold down shift and right click to activate mid between 2 points. So we're going to use this here to click this edge, which will then place the refrigerator dead center between the edge of the cabinet and the wall. All right. Then let's go back to our, actually, let's throw the outlets in first, and then we will go back to our sink. And then after that, we're going to stop the video here, and then we'll go into drawing our section views in the next video. So taking a look at this, let's see, we have an outlet, looks like a standard duplex outlet, meaning that's just 2 plugs. They have a four outlet right there, another duplex outlet, another duplex outlet, and they kind of give you the dimensions of those. Now, those are going to be by the electrician anyway, but it is nice to show that because sometimes there are going to be times where they might need to coordinate the electrical with the millwork. In this case, I highly doubt they're going to need to do that, but it looks like from the floor to the center of the outlet, they have a dimension at 3'4". And so I'm going to take a line using the line command straight up from the floor, and we're going to go up 40 inches here and draw a line straight across. So this is going to be kind of another construction line for us. And we do have outlet blocks in the on-site tool palettes. I believe they're under on-site miscellaneous. And you can find that in the electrical part. So we need to find, let's see, we need a single electrical outlet. We're going to start on the right-hand side over here. Actually, I think we need to start on the left-hand side. Yeah, let's start over here. So it says this one is spaced 36 inches from the edge of the counter to the center of the outlet. So how we're going to do that is we're going to use the move command. We are going to hit enter. We've selected the outlet. We're going to go shift and right click, and we're going to go mid between 2 points to specify the base point of where we're moving it from. So I'm going to take this corner, and I'm going to take this corner, and that allows me to select dead center of that outlet plate. I'll drop it right in line with the countertop here. And then I'm going to slide it over 36 inches this way. So I should be a total of, if I do a DIST check, I'm going to go from the edge of the counter to the center of the outlet. Looks like we are dealing with 36 inches there, so that's perfect. The next outlet, this is kind of goofy. They don't really give us a location on the exact location of the outlet. They kind of give you dimensions from this outlet to this one and this outlet to this one, but they never really tell you from the wall to the center of that outlet what we're dealing with. So this might be a good opportunity for us to actually use that scaling tool within Bluebeam. And to get to that, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the ruler, and we need to make sure that our scale is set to the correct scale. So at the bottom of every view, you're going to have a view scale, or at least there should be. You will go to preset, and then you want to make sure that you have the correct one selected. So right now we're dealing with a 1/2 inch equals 1 foot. That is correct. And you can change your precision down if you'd like to. I usually go to a 1/16 by default to make sure that I'm not rounding anything by mistake. Then from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to where it says length. That's this icon right here. We're going to click on that. And we're going to go from the center of this outlet to the edge of the wall. So it's kind of a weird oddball dimension, but it looks like it's 5 and 11/16. Okay, so outlet from the wall, 5 and 11/16. So I'm using the copy command right now, and I'm going to take the midpoint of the outlet and snap it right to the center of that wall. All right, and then I'm using the move command now, and I'm moving 5 and 11/16 to the left. And then from there, it's really simple. All we need to do is copy this outlet using that copy command, and we're going to say we want this to be 2'4" or 28 inches this way to the left. And then we need to drop in a quad outlet, so we need to find that here. Double electric outlet is what we should be looking for. That would be this guy here. And this is 2'5" from the center of this outlet to the center of that one. So I'm going to take a line straight across at 2'5", 29 inches this way. And then I'm going to use the move command, and I'm going to move this outlet. So let's start by lining it up with that outlet here. It's getting a little crazy looking. But what we're going to do is use the move command once more now that we've got it in the right height. And we're going to line it up with that endpoint there, just like that. Now that that's done, we can erase these construction lines, and that should be it for outlets on here, which is great. And then we'll go back to our search. Okay, good, it didn't delete it. We need to find the the plumbing fixture 13, or the sink and faucet. So let's see if in the search here, I know there's quite a bit of results turned back here, but let's take a look to see if any of these actually show. I'm looking for something that might say, let's see, anything that might say like plumbing schedule or plumbing fixture schedule or anything like that. We may not have this, but oh look, this might actually have it here. Oh, hot diggity dog, it's right there. I went to that one just as a hunch because it said sink Kohler Vault 25, meaning that it's a Kohler sink. So I'm like, well, they have something there other than just PF13. So let's give that a shot and see what's in there. So looks like PF13, they're saying this is the Kohler Vault 25-inch top mount single bowl sink, and it's stainless steel. Okay, well that's enough to get us the sink at least, which is great. I can't really say that we have the faucet, although there's only one. Well, yeah, there's only one faucet in here, so it might be that one. But let's start by looking up this sink. We're gonna go on here. Let me close this search real quick so I can split screen this with my Google. We're gonna go into Google and we're gonna go look up Kohler's website here. Oops, Kohler. All right, now what we're going to do is use their search here to see if we can find the Vault sink. It should be, see if we can find it here. Hey, good morning. It's the Vault, and they said what, 25-inch top mount sink? Ooh, Please tell me you're a real sink. Okay, it is. Woof. All right. Well, hold on. Okay, this one can either be used as a top mount or an undermount sink. That's great. Okay, cool. And it's also almost $800. Holy smokes. Well, anyways, where I was going with that is because now we know what the sink is. If you go on these websites for these different manufacturers, what you can typically do is go through their website and pull CAD files directly from them, which is pretty cool. Usually they call them design files or resources or different things like that. So if you see something like that on their website, you can actually download all of the different things that you may need for the sink. So I'm going to go ahead and download all of these. I'm looking for the plan view, the front view, side view. Sure, it's nice to have the 3D file, but we probably don't need it. And then the cutout template is actually what's used to determine what the cutout in the countertop needs to be for that sink to fit in there. So I'm going to download all 5 of these. It's going to ask me where to save it. So typically where these go, if you are in a job folder, we're going to go to Legislative Office Building, we're going to go to Drawings, and then we're going to go over to Architecturals. So there is a folder in here called Equipment Cut Sheets. So if you ever have to download something like a sink or a faucet, or like the refrigerator, for example, if we knew exactly what that was, we could put that in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to label this folder the same way the architect labels their sink. So this is PF13. I'm going to save this right here. And then you'll notice that your web browser is going to tell you, do you want to open this file location? So I'm going to say, yeah. Now this is a zipped folder, so I have to actually unzip it for it to be accessible in AutoCAD. So to do that, all you got to do is right click on the folder, go to extract all, and then hit extract right there. All right. Now that we have that, we're going to open up some of these here. So that's your front view, which we probably won't need, but we are going to need the plan view, and we will need the side view eventually for the section view in the next video. But I need the plan view right now and the cutout template here. So I'm going to open both of those up. All right, so that's the cutout template. Kind of hard to read sometimes, but what we're dealing with here is, let's see if they tell you what these different lines mean. Okay, that's the line of the sink. Let's see, what is this here? Dash line there. See if they call it out anywhere. Oh, it says rim of sink. Okay, I get you. Okay, and I think that would be what you would use for an undermount sink. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our plan view for that sink here, and we're going to copy this into our CAD file. We can go ahead and paste that over here for right now. And what I'm going to do is actually turn this into the existing layer. So we need to highlight that, go up to existing, and then sometimes it helps too, because if you notice, if you click on any of these, are individual lines at the current moment. If you want to avoid having to select all of that and the potential of accidentally missing part of it when you select it, one thing you can do is you can group these all together. There's a command called a group in AutoCAD. You click on that and then highlight the entire sink. It will lock that in as a group. So from there on out, if you were to move this or rotate it or anything, it's all one object instead of a bunch of little lines and circles and things like that. So kind of helpful there. We're going to use the rotate command to flip this the right way. So right now we're looking at, this would be the drain of the sink. These would be where your control levers are. The faucet would go here. And then if you have a soap dispenser, it would go in that hole right there. We need to locate this sink on this countertop. And to do that, we need to find out the exact center from this cabinet to the edge of the counter. So let's do a distance check on that and see what we're dealing with here. So center of that to edge of counter is 18.25. Okay, so what we're going to do now is move the sink using the midpoint of that sink. We're going to drop it right there to be at the edge of the counter. And then we're going to move this down 18.25 inches, just like that. Now, a lot of times I might actually move this forward a little bit, and I can use that mid between 2 points to do this. I'm going to use the move command first. I've selected my sink, and I'm going to hold down shift and right click, activate mid between 2 points. Go from there to there, and then I'm going to hold down shift and right click once more and go to mid between 2 points again, because this time I'm going to be selecting the destination point of where we're moving this to. So front to back of counter. So now it's kind of centered within the depth of the counter, but then also centered on top of that cabinet where the sink is going. All right. So I know right now we don't really have the faucet spec, so we might have to leave that off for right now. Let me take a look at what this faucet looks like here, this LK Harmony faucet, and just see if that looks like what they're showing in their drawing. Let's see, LK Harmony. This is going to be an expensive sink. $800 sink, $400 faucet. My goodness. These people must be made out of money. Well, anyway, that looks pretty much spot on to what they're dealing with here. So I'm going to use this faucet and drop that into our CAD file. So again, on these websites, you're going to want to look to see if they have any CAD files, and a lot of times they will be called either downloads, resources, or what did they call it over here, design files. If they don't have something like that, that's okay. I just figured we might as well look to see if they have anything like that first, and if they don't, then there is another way to get these into AutoCAD, but we won't really spend a lot of time on that here right now. All right, so for the time being, what I'm going to do is I think we're going to call this one for right now. Let's go back to our CAD file here. We have the elevation view pretty much squared away, aside from dimensioning and tagging everything. We have our plan view, same deal, pretty much squared away aside from dimensioning and tagging everything. And then when we get into this next video, we're going to be talking about how to draw the section views. We've kind of looked at that briefly with the block training, but we're going to be working on that here in the next video. So I'm going to put a stop on this one, and then the next one will be focused on sections and then possibly plotting, unless we have to break that up.